Here, buddy.
I am Shane.
He is. Lex, at least last time I checked.
And we've got Colby over in Phone a Friend. I was just telling Colby as we were trying to avoid watching that opening sequence. I love when Colby's here. Colby is a wealth of knowledge, not just about, obviously, the products, but just tech in general. And for your young age, you know a lot. You're very intimidating in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's got a hell of a beard. All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about third-party patching.
Yeah.
Now, but you know what? We may as well dig in a little bit to if you want to deploy like the cumulative patches for Microsoft. Here's how you can do it using the package library.
It's all basically the same thing. We're just going to take you through the ways to go about making that automated, so you don't have to do it, and you can do bigger and better things like watch Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the pre-show. Well done. Well done. For those who just barely tuned in and going, what the hell are they talking about? All right. So let's talk about the whole kind of the set it and the forget it.
Okay.
All right. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's talk about auto downloads, because really that's kind of the whole start of the thing, right?
Okay.
So you're going to go get your third-party patches, right? Your packages out of the package library. Let's grab Java.
All right. So here we're in the package library. We could scroll down to Java, or we can just use it. There's quite a few. There's quite a few packages in there, so we'll just use the filter. There's some Java, and you want to use, are we talking Java 8,
Let's
Java
grab
10?
8. Yeah, let's grab Java 8.
All right. So we'll see Java 8. It's update 181, build 13. So just hit download, right?
Simple download, and the nice thing about this, obviously, is that it's a pre-built package, and you can open this up and see anytime you want what we've done. It's a good template to build other packages of
Yeah, a little cheat sheet.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you don't have to go out and grab the installation files and figure out how to, it's already done for you. In fact, if we open this up, there's Java 8 now. If we open this up, we will see all the steps that we here at PDQ have put into this package. Number one, we do check for previous versions, and you can tell this is a command step. There's different types of steps. If you're using the free mode, you get one install step. That's where you call the EXE or the MSI or whatever. But here we've got a bunch of, looks like just regular command steps. This is processed as a batch file that will run in the CMD interpreter.
Yep.
All right.
Now, the thing about these is you'll notice they're grayed out because we want to keep the integrity of that package, but you can do a pre and a post step on that, and those will be saved when the new version gets downloaded.
Cool. So if there's some steps you want to do prior to this, maybe send a message out.
Or a message, yeah.
The post step, a popular one would be a reboot. Generally, our packages in the package library do not do reboots. We actually suppress that. Leave that up to you. But if you just want to come take a peek, we can go to the install step, step 6 in this case. See that we are calling the MSI. And you can see the parameters that we're doing here. We're actually passing in a transform file. This is where we've actually built a transform file so that we can make some modifications.
Basic install instructions. Yeah.
A lot of parameters are going to be, especially with MSI, it's going to be value equals, property equals value. But here we're just saying, we've got a lot of values that we want to modify, so we've done that all in a transform file. And we built that using Orca, which you can grab. Anyway, we're done. Let's go ahead and so what do you want to do?
Okay, so at this point, you would say, let's automate this, right? So to automate this, you're going, you can just deploy it if you want, or you can schedule it. Now, the nice thing about scheduling it is with an auto download, when the new version comes down, it's going to reset that schedule so you don't have to touch it again. Okay. So let's build a schedule. So you highlight the package, then you hit new schedule. I like the way you go about this. You actually name them. I have like a bunch of new schedule.
Yeah, schedule. You don't have to name it, but it's
if you
best
want to find it.
All right. So the first now you see we've got quite a few tabs here. The first thing are triggers.
Yeah.
Since we're doing a schedule, what a trigger will be something like every day at 3 p.m. kick this off, or every every Saturday at 5 p.m. whatever. How would you like to do it?
I just hit it once a week. I think daily is a little aggressive.
Okay, so now weekly, you can choose. Weekly can be a little confusing. Here we can say this since we're doing this on a Thursday, it says, hey, Thursday, do you want to do it Thursday at 11 a.m.? You can say once a week, or do it weekly, but you can say, I want to do it on like Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And that means based on this time, we'll change that to a PM.
Yeah, I hate for that to kick off today. Huh?
So now at 11 p.m. on those 4 days, this is going to kick off, right? And now we go to the targets. The targets, very important, especially when you're talking about schedules and when you're talking about doing patch management. You don't, if you can get away with it, you don't want to specify basic.
You don't want to shotgun it out to
targets.
your entire network. Yeah.
Or you don't want to just say only push out to these computers. So if you hit choose targets, probably not what you want to do, because choose targets means you actually have to specify the computers that are going to receive this.
It's a static list, and if you add a new computer to the network, it's not automatically going to add it in here. So
if I could say, let's go to microverse 1 and 2. That means on those days, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's going to go out to microverse 1 and 2 because I selected those. No, generally what you want to do when you're talking about patching is choose a source. That's where you go to link to. You want to link to not a particular computer or computers, but their source. And you can choose an Active Directory OU or an Active Directory group, as long as that group contains computers. Not users. It can contain users. It just has to. It's only going to use the computer objects.
Yeah.
We're going to use inventory collections. So we've got in the collection library. Those of you who have inventory and use the collection library, under runtimes, we keep, similar to the package library, we keep up-to-date versions for these. Let's just go down to Java, and we'll choose the Java 8 family, and we're looking at the 32-bit. That's what we grab. And now notice there's a Java 8 32-bit old. All the computers that do have Java 8, but they're not the latest version, are going to be in this collection.
So if I just jump over to inventory, you can see what's actually in there. So runtimes, Java 8 32-bit old. Those are the machines that have old version of Java on them.
These could all have different versions of 8. We just know one thing. They have 8, and it's aren't
not
the latest version.
Yep.
Yeah, the latest version of 8 as of this is Update 181. You can see how, not sure if you can see that, but the way that we try to put those versions right up there in the description.
Yeah.
The way that Oracle reports this would be Java 8.0 181.0.13. Anyway. So we don't have any machines that have the latest version of Java 8.
Yes.
So now we know that when we finish creating the schedule, we say use that old, and you can have multiple targets here. But just so you know, if a computer is in any one of these collections that you choose or containers, it's going to kick off. Options, kind of important. In this case, maybe we want to use PDQ Inventory Scan User Credentials.
I suggest that. It's always just a good habit, because if you have multiple domains, or you have like workgroup stuff, if you just reference inventory, it makes it so much easier.
Cool. If you have it. If you don't use that, then the credentials that are in that field, in this case Quintana in the web domain, are going to be used. If you have targets, in this case in this Java 8 old, that Quintana is not an administrator of all of those targets, then maybe choose the inventory scan user credentials, but you have to have inventory for that to work.
Yep. Another important thing is that stop deploying the targets once they succeed. Hey, I can read.
Yeah,
The hooked on phonics has been working for me.
So it's just stop deploying. Boy, that's a reference in the 90s. We are old. Stop deploying the targets once they succeed. This is fairly important when you're talking about patch management.
Absolutely.
Because once you patch a computer, ideally in this case we're using inventory. It's going to get removed automatically from that collection, saying I have an old version of Java 8. So it would not be a target the next time. But just to be on the safe side, if this Java 8 build 181 update 181 succeeds to a computer, even if it's in that collection again, it's not going to get this twice if it succeeded. Where you don't want to have that checked are other things, like if you have a schedule to do a reboot just every Saturday night,
stuff, yeah.
Then you want to uncheck that, because every Saturday you want that package to run, even those that were successfully run the week before.
Do we have any questions?
Dear Shane and Lex, if the computer is offline and I push an update/patch, do I need to have heartbeat enabled so the computer can reach the patch? Sincerely, Angel P.
Well, hello.
Hey.
Okay, so there's a couple of different options, and we're not going to be talking necessarily about the agent that's upcoming. The agent The agent will address this in certain circumstances, but right now you have two options. You have, and that's why actually we've clicked on the offline settings. Number one, you can do, if the computer is offline, you can say, I want to put this in the retry queue. And the retry queue, yes, we'll say put these here. That means it will try 72 times. And by default, it's set up every hour. You can see the interval right there. This is set up in preferences, by the way. Every hour, so up to so 72 times, therefore up to 3 days, it will try it. That's kind of a brute force method. The heartbeat that you were mentioning, I think, is a little bit more elegant if you use, if you do in fact use PDQ inventory. In order to use the heartbeat, though, you do have to have the heartbeat trigger. So we could say heartbeat. That means it's going to. We have two triggers now. It's going to kick off at those dates that we mentioned. The Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then heartbeat. The heartbeat means if inventory. Let's go back to inventory here.
Yep.
Notice we have this online column right here.
Now, for this to work, it has to go from offline to online in inventory.
Yes.
And that takes a little bit of time.
By default, the online status is determined by a ping, which is also known as a heartbeat, and it kicks off every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, all the computers in your environment are pinged. They have 2 seconds to respond to that ICMP echo request. If they do, they're considered online. If not, they're offline. If a computer is offline and then goes to online, that counts as a heartbeat trigger.
Absolutely.
So if Alan Rails, his first computer, is offline, comes online, then it's going to send some information to deploy saying, hey, the computer Alan Rails just came online, changed status from off to on. Do you have a schedule with a heartbeat trigger that Alan Rails is a target of? And they say, oh, yes, Java. Then Java will get deployed to it.
Absolutely.
So I would probably recommend the heartbeat. It's a little bit more elegant. And then, of course, with the new agent that's coming out, we'll talk about that in coming weeks. The agent for deploy, anyway. The deploy can utilize the inventory agent. Then a lot of that will be taken care of just when the agent comes online.
Absolutely.
So that's what we'd recommend is to use heartbeat. That's how you'd handle those. So our offline settings, we're not going to use the retry. We're going to use the heartbeat. And notice you got your packages here. This is already attached Java 8. You can attach different packages to this, but the next time Java 8 comes up with an update, based off of your auto approval settings, and I believe the default, Colby, is the default 3 days?
Auto approval, I think 7, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
It's
7 days.
7
Thank you.
days. It's a week.
By default auto, that means that if you kept the defaults and you had this set to the auto download, after it's been available for 7 days, unless you've manually approved it, which you'll see a little notice, do you want to approve this new version of Java? Basically, it gives you 7 days to test. You can modify that. You can modify that and say, I want this done immediately. I want this approved in 2 days.
Should we show 'em?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go ahead and say okay to that first.
Give this, I'm going to do one more thing here. This heartbeat trigger, just in case, I'm going to set this 1 day away to start because I don't want any of those to cycle. And then
Okay, so we're going to start that. The heartbeat won't kick off until tomorrow.
there we go.
That's when it will start.
So in deploy, if you go to options, preferences, auto download, here's where you can set that automatic download.
And this is a global setting, and so this will take effect on all. If you change this, say 7 days is a little too long. I want 3 days, or I want 12 hours, or whatever. Then this will take effect on all future auto downloads, not the existing ones. And there could be that, okay, we've set the global now to 3 days, but I want to go back to these right here, the schedules that I've previously modified, and you can change these to say I want this one to go automatic, or I want this one to go in 12 days instead.
The approval is actually per package, not per schedule.
That's right. We changed. It is now per package, and we should actually show that because a fairly popular way of doing the auto downloads. And thank you, Colby. A fairly popular way of doing this. So we can open up this package. Is to say we're going to use a Java auto download to our environment. All the computers that have an old version. And it's going to be auto-approved in 3 days. That means it's got 3 day window we'll still push out 181 until the next version comes out 3 days later. Then the schedule starts. When's the next schedule after the 3 days? But let's say that you have a handful of computers that you always want to push out right away.
Your test machines.
By the way, we can go over here to properties. And notice in the properties, top level properties, under options, auto download, we can change this from, it looks like we made this manual, to just say immediate or automatic, or just use the settings, which is now 3 days.
Now, if you
Okay.
wanted to do test ones, you need to download another Java.
Yep, well, we'll do that right now.
Okay.
So we'll go back to Java, and we'll download this. And what we're going to do on this one, now we're downloading it again, and notice it'll append the number 2. We're doing this one as like an early adopter. This is for us to test. If we don't hear any complaints from users, then we are just going to let the other one be approved within
it
3
fly,
days.
yep.
So we'll come over here to this guy, change the offline settings, or pardon me, the options to go immediate. That means right when we find out there's a new version available in the package library, we'll download that.
And then you'd want to build another schedule that ran, say, on a daily basis to do this test.
We can just change this one to immediate, right, Colby?
Yep.
Yes, as long as you keep the name relatively similar, it will continue to update the version.
So just appending immediate,
Yes.
right? Immediate. All right. So we'll just do immediate there, say okay to that. And then we're going to schedule. Notice now we can see there's this one, there's this immediate. We'll go to deploy, hit new schedule, and then we're just going to do a trigger daily. We'll change that to noon. We'll have some fun with that one. And in this case, we'll do this Java 8 immediate.
And this could be a case where you'd want to handpick your targets.
Yes, this is a great one. Let's say that in this case, just we'd recommend best case or best practice is just choose computers, a handful of computers that represent, your business units. Maybe some from marketing, maybe some from engineering, some from your administration team, whatever. So maybe we'll do Get Swifty and Microverse and Squanchy. Just go through and choose a handful of computers that represent your business units. And the cool thing is actually, don't tell the end users that they are early adopters.
Yeah.
Because once you tell them that hey, I'm going to be doing something to your computer, then all of a sudden they
printer
can't
doesn't
print, or their mom got in a crash. This is going to get blamed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the term, the actual logical fallacy is post hoc ergo propter hoc. It happened after, therefore because. And so just don't tell them. And if something breaks, make sure. Oh, by the way, make sure these people actually do use Java.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if they can't get to a Java app that they're using, they'll come and let you know. Anyway, so we said okay to that. And now we've got 2 schedules. If we go to all schedules here, we've got Java 8 and Java 8 immediate. These are going to be immediately approved, and the next day at 12 a.m. or the next time that trigger hits after the approval, going to get downloaded. Wait for 3 days or 7 days, whatever your other one is, and then let the other one kick off.
This is a good time to talk about what happens with those downloads. So, I built Google here a couple of days ago, and guess what? There's a new Google out. So if you go to target history, you can see I've got history out there. And so what happens when that new package comes down? This target history is based off version number.
Yes.
And so
we can see that Beth, it has a successful checkbox next to it for that version, 68, right? Beth is not going to be a target of this again from this schedule. You can still deploy to Beth again manually that same version, and it will try. But this schedule is not going to try to go out to Beth again. However, once that next version is approved, and you can see we've got down here, if you can move us out of the way, notice we got a little notice right there. It says 3 auto download approvals are waiting. You can click that, and it just takes you to the package library updates. And
take that checkbox
we're
off.
going to undo that. Looks like we got Java up there still.
There we go.
So these are the 3 packages that they're saying, hey, there's a new version. Do you want to approve this, or do you want to wait? So we can say, you know what, we've tested this latest Google. We'll make this a little wider here. 84 is the version. We'll just say approve now. So we've selected Google, we'll say approve now.
So you just fast track that one.
You can see Google is now downloading that new version. And what we're gonna do is select this, go to the schedule. There's that schedule that you had mentioned, open it up. And if you notice, the target history is now blank because this new version hasn't been deployed yet. But it's got the same triggers, it's got the same targets. It's just the package is different. The package that we have automatically detached the old, we've actually detached the old version and attached the new one, which is now 106, not 84.
So because of this, this is going to take care of Google and Java, all the things we've scheduled automatically for pretty much the foreseeable future.
You can
at
see
this
that
point.
the next run is in 22 hours. That's when the next trigger hits. But what if you just say, you know what, I want to do this right now? Is there a way to do that? I don't want to wait 22 hours. I need to get this out now. You can just right click. And you see that little start schedule. You can start schedule. And it'll let you choose individual packages that are attached. In this case, there's only one. Just say, yeah, just start that off. And what's it going to do? It's going to go out to the Google Chrome old.
Figure out who's
Notice
out there.
Beth is in there now. Beth had the old version, but not the new one. So if we go over to inventory, we should be able to see under applications, internet browsers, there's Chrome old. They're going to start leaving this collection after the deployment because we've got this scan after. Remember, in deploy, this is definitely best practice if you're using inventory. Under your preferences, in deployments, you've got scan after deployment. We say yes. After a deployment happens, scan using the application's scan profile so that we can get an updated version. So you can see these are now scanning automatically, and they should be coming in here as
There we go. As updated packages.
Do we have any questions out there?
Dear Shane and Lex, how do you make the uninstaller work for all users on a machine if the uninstall string referenced is in a user profile? Sincerely, Sir William Z.
Yeah, that is that does present a problem. Now, there are generally ways to do it. Sometimes there are some applications that are installed per user, William, that try as we may, we have been unable to uninstall them
globally on a machine.
Yeah. Generally, the best way is if it's an application that's installed to a machine, not individual users. However, there are ways generally you can do it, but it usually involves some type of script where you will traverse, this script will just basically traverse the user profiles and say, hey, is this application exist?
If it does, run the uninstall string for that. Yeah.
Another way you can do it from deploy is to build an uninstall. So let's just say, let's just go out to
We've got
Beth.
one. They built one from.
I'll let you drive.
So they built one today in. Here we go. Uninstall. Well, that's the one we built. Where is the one? Well, they didn't save it. I guess we're gonna go back. All right, I stand corrected. I'm not touching the mouse. No more.
This is how you know it's live.
Dang.
We could look. Maybe they didn't put it under packages, just so
Yeah.
you know. We could do an uninstall. Look for that. Nope. Looks like they
Next
didn't.
didn't
Okay,
save
that's
it.
fine.
All right.
So let's. We could do this. We can go to inventory, and let's just say we want to remove Chrome. Now, in this case, Chrome. We're going to go to applications. Boy, this looks like they've modified the regular look of this. They're seeing the uninstall string right there.
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, how do you get this back? We can just click that little button right there
Hit
and
reset.
reset, and that will take you back to the default.
default.
Notice with the hidden columns is the install date in this case. But there they go. So if we want to uninstall Chrome, and it would only be for this version of Chrome, you can right click and just say uninstall. That will open up
Command
custom tools.
Yep.
It will run. It's set to run, and it automatically grabs that uninstall string. You can just grab this if you want, and this only works in this case for this version. But I've copied that. You could just come over here, create a new package.
There's an easier way.
Yeah, well, actually, there is because we added that. You want to do it?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Woohoo! I can actually do. All right. So we're gonna right click on. Where did Beth go? There we go. Right click on
And just
Chrome
say
and
create an
uninstall package. It does it
And
for you.
that will add that uninstall in a command
That
step.
string right there.
There you go. And then you can deploy that out. Now, if this is a per user application, just make sure to run this. You can either run this step or go to properties and run all the steps. but run this step using logged on user. Logged on, that user would have to be logged on. If the uninstall or the install requires administrative rights, then they'll have to have it. But basically, if there's a user logged on at that time of the installation, this will say, as this user, so Colby's logged on, as Colby, not as Quintana, attempt to uninstall. And that is a way that you can get it down, William. There's a couple of ways to do it.
And if you want to see an example of a PowerShell script that will uninstall a per user application, I believe we have one for Chrome in the package library.
Did we ever publish that?
I think we did.
Let's check.
We're going to type in Chrome. There's an uninstall Google Chrome.
Oh, per user. There's one right there.
Yep.
Of course,
I want
Colby's
to work
right.
here. Yeah, okay. If this is the same one we've used before, it's fairly brutal. This one goes through. If this is the one I've seen before,
We're talking UFC style.
Yeah, this just goes through and just removes
Rips it out.
Google. It's fairly brutal. And if I recall, it might leave any taskbar icons there just with the default Windows icon.
It's more like bum fight style.
We have any questions?
Dear Shane and Lex, my Deploy Central server is taking it upon itself to change the Deploy user to another set of credentials when deploying to one computer. It doesn't do this for 99% of the other PCs. Can you set me on the glorious path of resolution for this problem? Thanks, Winnie D.
Interesting. That if it's as you described it, sounds like a bug. Generally, what we do when we're talking, I'm going to come over here to Firefox. I'm going to say deploy once, and I'm going to change this. Well, let's hurry and edit credential. Well, if you choose different credentials, right? I'm going to add a local. So I want to just add a local user. When you want to use a local account, you just delete the domain, or you can put a period in there, a dot.
Yeah.
But delete that, and then your a local administrator account. Right? We have ours in this one, I think, called Vincent.
Password 1. Did we change that? Oh, it's password 2 now.
We'll say local account or something. The description will help you. And we could even try to test those credentials against Beth. See if that works. I don't know. Yeah, test successful. Say okay. So now we're going to say let's just deploy this as Vincent, the local account, and we go to Beth. The next time you go to deploy, and you tell me if I'm right on this one, Colby. If I go to deploy this guy, it's going to remember the last credentials.
Yeah.
All right. So even though your default credentials are Quintana, we think, oh, you've deployed this using this account. That's kind of the way it's intended to work. If you're seeing it on just one particular deployment, if it's a schedule, remember your schedules, you specify. You might actually have a bunch of schedules, and one schedule is hard-coded to use this. So we go over here to options. Maybe you've got another set of credentials in there, and whenever this kicks off, you're like, no, I don't intend for that to happen. This is where you change that. Either go change it to the set that you want, or if you're using inventory, use PDQ Inventory scan user credentials, and then you're good. Remember, scan user credentials in inventory work like this. In deploy, we don't know the targets. We don't maintain. We use inventory to maintain histories of
Yes.
those in a way. So I can say for Beth, I can open up Beth, the computer Beth, and go to computer. There's a number of ways of doing this, by the way. And scroll down to scanning. Notice I've got the scan user way down here. If you lose us there, JJ. Notice we've got set to Web Quintana. We could change this to go to, this is here. We could say to go to PDQ. We don't have Vincent in here because this is a different program.
Yeah.
We could say always scan using PDQ admin from AA Labs. This may fail in Beth's case. When you have, now that the scan user for Beth has been changed, when you deploy using, like Google in this case, we're saying use PDQ inventory scan, it's going to try using that PDQ admin account, right? Because you specified that. The cool thing about it is you get pretty instant feedback in inventory if, when I say, I'm just going to hit F6 while Beth is
Scan,
there.
yeah.
And if those credentials work, notice they work, the scan won't start. You'll get an error code 5 usually, which is a security. Now we know that works using that account. When I deploy, if Beth is a target, Beth is going to use that
Those
account,
credentials.
as long as you have that option set.
Yep.
But check your, Winnie, check the credentials on the schedule or whatever.
And
Make
the
sure
deployment,
the last used will be remembered. That was a long way around that one.
Now, I want to show you one more thing real quick in regards to deployments. Now, the test, this immediate, if you wanted to make sure this didn't accidentally go out to somebody else, you can do a package level credential.
Okay.
So if you go up to properties and you can go to conditions or credential, package level condition is a member of, and then you could select a collection here. And that would, if you had your test collection, it would make it so that only goes out to
That's a good
those
point.
machines.
That's a great point. Yeah, the inventory collections condition, one of the best features I think we've added. Honestly.
Absolutely. One of my favorites.
I mean, obviously, those of you who've used conditions know that you could say, I don't ever want to deploy this to a server, so I just uncheck servers. And then even if a server machine is a target, it's going to fail this condition and it's not going to kick off. Now, conditions are historically per step, but if you do conditions at the top level, if it doesn't meet this condition, it won't even bother processing the rest of the steps. So in this case, only workstations will be hit. If this accidentally goes to a server, it won't even be hit. Well, we added the PDQ inventory collection because remember, you can add so much logic to create an inventory collection that effectively you have a near unlimited set of conditions that you have. You can have a collection that says only include computers that have a WMI class and value like this or not like this, and then
they start with the letter L or whatever
Yes.
it is. I mean, it's an amazing tool here.
and if it's not in that collection or is not in this case is a member or is not a member of that collection, then it will kick off. Yeah, please play with that. I mean, just it really is frustrating when hey, is there any way that I only want this to be kicked off, to computers that are not in this security group in Active Directory? Okay, well,
The one I always hear is
create a
this.
collection.
It's like, I've got a machine that has to have an old version of Java. It's got to stay at this one, and I don't want it to get. And
that's
so
a
you
fairly
put
common
that
one.
collection in there and say, as long as it's not a member of this, go ahead and run it.
Yeah, it's not you create a collection that just says, Java legacy, and it's got to have Java 8 update 25 or something, and
Plug
just
that
say
in
as long
there.
as it's not a member of Java 8 legacy,
Have at
it's
it.
not gonna. Then go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, let's do another question.
Dear Shane and Lex, in PDQ Inventory 16 Enterprise, is there a way to adjust scan profiles by collection? Thanks, Angel P.
There is a way when you're talking about schedules. So, I can go over here to Chrome Enterprise, and I can just say scan. Right now, if you actually wanted to scan the collection, go to collection, scan collection, and we'll just say standard. That will scan regardless. But if you're talking about, let's go
So
to
notice
pref-
just those guys are scanning now.
just those. All we did was say scan this collection. Now in options, go to scan profiles. Let's go to applications. Let's say that we only want applications. Notice applications only runs 3 different scanners. Applications, computer details, hotfixes. It doesn't add all of these others like the standard does, like disks and services. Basically it runs much faster and only grabs small portions of data. In your triggers, you can say, I want this to be run, every single weekday, and I want it done in the morning. So we'll say it's 6 a.m. And then in the collections, this is where the schedule comes in. You can say link this to only, let's go to workstations. Only workstations, so it won't hit servers. So to answer your question, in this case, when this trigger is hit every weekday at 6 a.m., only computers in this collection will get scanned. But I could still go out to computers that aren't in workstations and say, scan this manually, and it will scan. So the answer is yes, as long as it adheres to the schedule.
Yep.
That's that.
And our final question today, will SQL service packs ever be added to PDQ Deploy ready-made packages? Sincerely, Jeff W.
Never say never. Generally, the packages are need to have a fairly wide user base before we do it. That's why there's a lot of packages out there. A lot of people have asked, "Hey, this is free. Can you please add this?" But it's a little esoteric and take a lot of time for us to build and test for just a few people that would ever use it.
The other thing is, updating SQL Server just scares me.
Yeah. Now you can obviously always just build the package.
Yes.
You can go grab that update file and build your own package and deploy it out there. The feedback that we've gotten when it comes to SQL and Exchange and basically server level services and back office type.
People do it manually.
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to deploy that. This is something I take my SQL servers very seriously, and I will update those manually. I won't even build a package and do it. I will schedule a maintenance window, and I will just manually install that. For now, if you really do, if you trust those updates, build your own package, grab that. There might come a day where we grab those. But going down into like the Windows updates, we do in the package library have those cumulative ones. So we can from Windows 7 up to like Windows 10. Let's see what we got here. So here, let's say you've got a bunch of what do you got here? We've already downloaded a few. Windows 10 1703. And this is, I believe, the 64-bit, because we've now broken those up. This is an auto download. So the next time a version is available, after the approval window, it'll automatically be downloaded. You can at least get a lot of your Windows patches this way. Just say, I want these updated. It's just based off of what version of Windows 10 you're using, or if you're using Windows 7 or 8.1.
Yep.
Any other? Was that the last question? All right. Use it. Yeah. Use the package library. If the update's not there, build your own package.
All right, schedule it, let it run. Don't tell your boss. Get an extra day off work. That's what I say.
There you go. I'm Shane.
I'm Lex. Thanks for watching.
Later.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Angel P. and Winnie D. Winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. If you have any other additional questions, feel free to reach out to our support forums. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here again next week.